Hi there, I'm Professor Ron, and today I want to talk about course prep, course planning for your college courses or really for any level of a course. And one of the things that I really like to do is I like to get everything down on paper. So really the first step in my process is, if you can see a little bit of this, I've got my handy dandy clipboard and my legal pad, and I get everything down on paper. I've got my calendar out, my paper. Maybe I'm looking at an old syllabus that I've used. I might have my course in Blackboard open to kind of jot notes down, but I'm using, my Blackboard course, my syllabus, my legal pad, my calendar. I'm kind of just getting all those thoughts out and organized. Now, if I've already, now maybe I want to change some lectures, videos, apps, update, different topics. All that's, a part of all the process. But typically, when you're at this process of getting things down on paper with I got everything's here, and then you transfer it, to the computer. It makes things a lot easier when you're working in Blackboard or other learning management systems, so that you can copy and paste. You're not having to think in real time about the announcement dates that you need to change. You've actually already done that. I think in the past, what I've done was, I would go to, we use Blackboard here where I work at South Texas College, and I would open my old Blackboard shell. We use developmental shells. I have a developmental shell that we use to build the class, and I would just start, I would export it, and, I would import it into the class that's, it's going to go live in a few days or weeks or whatever, and I would just start changing everything one by one by one. And I'm like, this takes forever. So one of the things I talk about with my students, and I try to walk the walk as well, is, sometimes you have to take time to save time. What I mean is, that pencil, the pencil and the clipboard, it's the most powerful tool. And then when I get all that, in a digital file, and I can open up Blackboard and my developmental shell, my class builder, and I'm just copy and paste it. I've already spent, minutes or hours going through the planning. Now, this course prep or course planning really has to happen after you've, re-recorded any new updated lectures, audio or video, changed assignments, those kind of things. You might want to get all those materials done before, or at least side by side, or for some teachers, they maybe want to, I don't know, that maybe they want to do it live in the scenario of the class, but I would caution or urge you to try not to do that kind of stuff. Any new lectures, videos, apps, topics, new assignment ideas, that all needs to be part of your planning process. And really, whichever step you make it's kind of up to you. In my course prep or course planning that I'm talking about right now, I'm talking about because I do all the updates. I do all the assignment updates, video updates, lecture updates. I do all that before I get to this step. So this for me is the last, towards the end of the process, where it's like now my developmental shell is ready for me to bring all of this stuff in there. So if I just scroll through, you can see spring 2026 course prep, and I've got music appreciation, and I'm putting here last session, new session, and session ends. I'm doing this because when you're doing, say, batch editing, you're going to want to have all this stuff handy, so that you can input that in batch editing. And batch editing in an LMS like Blackboard is where you can actually update all of your assignments within seconds. Now, it might take a minute or two, but it depends on what you have. But this is the kind of stuff you need if you're using batch editing. And if you're and I have other videos on that, multiple videos that explain different batch editing scenarios. So check those out in the video description. So I kind of know how I like to flow and operate, so I put that there. So when I need it in the batch editing process of updating tons of assignments simultaneously, it's very handy. I have a note on new files because I want to make sure I have the proper handbook, and so that's important for me to bring over. With my announcements in Blackboard, what I'm trying to do is, it's not like path of least resistance. It's not that I'm trying to do the bare minimum. Actually, I'm not that way at all. I take a lot of time in the planning, so that when I pull up my announcements, I know I want to label them this way, so I can have them in the order that I like. And I put all the information here, like the main body of the announcements is in another file. But if I'm using a previous course and the announcements haven't really changed, I can certainly edit those live, or I have, like I said, I have another file that has the body of the announcements, and I can edit that. And instead of thinking and retyping on the fly, I can just bring it in. So it's really kind of all part of the process. But I've already done that. So in this case, I'm just making sure I know, okay, this is the week that announcement needs to go, the time, and it makes it a lot quicker, so I'm not having to look up on the calendar while I'm doing that task. So this stuff is important to do. It's like, well, why go through all this busy work? The point being is, if your class, say my class, like from fall 2025 to spring 2026, there's not much changes. Maybe all I'm really doing is editing a few announcements, and my topic or lectures are staying the same for the current school year. Then all you're really having to do in the announcements is just change the date, and there's going to be some body text that needs to be edited so that it's updated to the current dates. So it saves a lot of time, and some of the body editing and announcements is going to come from like the midterm changed. So I copy and paste right here from this document into that announcement. So the only reason for accessing my other announcement file is if there are new announcements or major updates or changes to things in the class. So I'm trying to schedule my announcements. So this is very, very helpful. Because again, you don't want to be doing your announcements and like looking up one, but it takes forever. You can, instead of spending hours, you spend minutes updating your announcements in your Blackboard course. Now, if I go down to instructor information, this changes. The big thing that changes, of course, is going to be like face-to-face office hours, and if you're doing Zoom, Pronto, or other kinds of things. And so you want to have a place where you can easily copy and paste and not have to do a bunch of retyping, making up new words, typing and editing. So I'm doing all this to make it a lot easier when I'm bringing this from this document into Blackboard. Okay. The welcome right here, the welcome to the 16-week class that begins on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. This course ends on Thursday, May 14th, 2026. It's part of the welcome in Blackboard. So instead of me having to retype or do a bunch of backspacing, I just get it right here and boom, and then I go. And it's really it's the same thing for a lot of the things or parts of the document, where faculty expectations, I'm highlighting things that are going to be in Blackboard, but also the syllabus that have to be changed or updated. It's information that from semester to semester changes because office hours change. The class start dates, end dates are going to change. There may be some edits or updates on expectations or rules or procedures. And so I'm just kind of highlighting that kind of stuff. You can see student expectations, making sure with things that are going to change more specifically, the end of the class, like final grades posted on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, or whatever year or session we're in, because who knows when you're going to be watching this planning. I'm putting this here because in Blackboard I have to label the syllabus, and so I'd rather just copy and paste it. Now, here's where I break down all the modules for myself. This helps me because I use modular due dates. And what modular due dates are, I have the Start Here module, which is what my students do in week 1. And in week 1, we're just getting to know each other. They're watching some tutorial videos on how to do some things in Blackboard, and they're also watching how-to video assignments on everything that they're going to do in week 1. So I have my intro video, the Blackboard tutorial videos, and how-to videos along with the practice quiz. That is the big part of really those things are week 1 part. And the main modules, for module 1, it runs like this. It's the elements of music, melody, harmony, rhythm, dynamics, texture, form, instruments, and vocals. And it runs from week 2 to week 5. And so there's only one due date for all the assignments in that module. So for me, modular due dates, it's based on if the module is 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 4 weeks. There's just one due date. It works most of the time. I can tell you I've tried weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. Modular due dates have been the most successful for me personally in a music appreciation course or American music course. So Module 1 running from week 2 to week 5. Module 2 running from week 6 to week 8. That takes us through the midterm. That's my Module 2 is my Elvis Presley and the Beatles and the midterm exam. Get to Module 3, week 9 to week 11. We're talking about the Baroque era, and then Module 4, week 12 to week 16, which of course includes the final exam as well. It's going to be classical. And so you see that each module just has one due date, so that when you're completing a module, you don't have to worry about a bunch of due dates. It's one, if you're in a module that has 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, however many weeks it has, just turn it in on the last day of the module. Now, the idea is the student shouldn't save their work to do until the last day of the week of the module. So if you're in Module 1 and they wait till that Sunday to try to do all the work, it's impossible. They're not going to get it done. They can try, but it's going to be miserable. Maybe they get lucky, but I doubt it. Highly unlikely. So I recommend for students and for anybody doing modular due dates that still recommend to the students in some kind of announcement, message, however you do that, to do work on a weekly basis. But the ultimate goal is have everything done by the module. So it's a way to work at your own pace without having to worry about a bunch of extensions and late work. So that's why I don't do late work. It's not necessary when I have modular due dates, unless someone gets sick or there is some kind of emergency or something. Of course, we make those exceptions. The trick in Module 4 coursework, it's due in week 15. Final exam is in week 16. It's an important thing for me to note out because I have the final exam lumped in to that module. I don't make separate modules for the midterm and the final. I lump them in. So just making sure I'm clear on that to myself and to the students. I put the midterm exam timeline. I can copy and paste this in the syllabus in the midterm exam. I've already thought through when I wanted to have it, and very specific. And I do the same thing for the final. The face-to-face classes, I add this in later to those classes. But as a placeholder, I put C online schedule. Same thing. They have to do a paper in the class. So on the paper, I decide when I want that paper to be done and just make sure that it's in my course planning, my course prep notes. And then the due dates for the course evaluations, I put a date in there, even though sometimes I may be off a little bit because the date is set by the evaluation system. But we don't know that date in week 0, and I want to have something done because we're still in week 0 basically, before week 1 the classes start. So I get it as close as I can, then I adjust it. Most of the time mine ends up being a little bit early beyond the actual official eval date, but I have pretty darn good success in students getting those things done. So it helps to have something in there. And I don't adjust this if it's early, if it's a hair early on the official date that comes out later in the semester. But if it ends up being passed, that's when I'd make a tweak. But you want to have something there and ready to go. A lot, quite a few assignments. I lot, I don't know, not too many, but on music and video journals, I want to make sure I've got all the dates there, that everything is good to go. So I have them all typed here, and all I have to do is, for the syllabus, I can copy and paste all these. I can highlight them, and I can bring it straight into the syllabus, and we're good to go. If I want to bullet them, I can highlight it, put the bullets here, and bring it over that way in the syllabus and/or Blackboard module overviews, those kind of things. Same thing for the Padlets and the quizzes, where I've got everything there, and I've just adjusted my dates so that I can put these things in the syllabus and Blackboard Learn Ultra, where we do the module overviews. The important dates, we need to have that in the syllabus, and we also, you may want that in your course, but for sure in the syllabus. One place you want to have that in the syllabus for sure. Current session, important dates. And I've got the HTML. I work in both, where sometimes I will do HTML for the things that I'm doing. In the course, I have some things designed where I use HTML. If you know it, it gives you, I think, more flexibility, and it can be quicker, but really only if you know it. The thing about the text, if I were to have all this without bullets and I transfer it over, it actually can be kind of tedious if you don't, So it's best if you're, say, going into Blackboard or the syllabus. Adding the bullets is fine. You can totally do that. Do whatever works for you. But I kind of do a combination of text, bullets, HTML, the hypertext markup language. So I have both for the dates. I can share more on. I'll do a session on HTML later on practical things that you could use with HTML, but also some basic, intermediate, advanced things that a lot of us could do. So a lot of this serves as things that will help me to get the syllabus done very, very quickly, but also things that will help me, of course, make sure that the Blackboard course is rocking and rolling, like that this is, all the stuff I need. Now, if I keep scrolling, this is just it's another class, same information. This is American music, where I'm going through all the same stuff I've already kind of talked you through. So I'm going to kind of browse through that. And I do this for everything. My American Music CB course, the same thing, where I'm just going through and putting all the things that I need. It's a way for me to kind of think through everything in the class, in terms of what needs to be edited, updated, and changed in Blackboard, and as well as the things that I'm going to need to bring into my, my syllabus. So all this planning, I feel like and this is my last CB course. It's really been one of the secrets, to my success and all the stuff that I'm doing. It does make your life a lot easier. Now, this process, I'm going to scroll down for a second. It feels like it takes longer to do it this way, but it actually doesn't. I mean, if you were to set a timer and how long it took you to run your class, to go from start to finish, versus maybe, my flow. I suppose you can honestly get fast at any flow that you do. But for me, I feel like it does help me to move things along really quickly when I spend more time kind of preparing everything, using my pencil and then typing it up and getting it rolling. So this one has a couple differences, because I did office hours in HTML for the syllabus on this one. As I do in some of my classes, the flow might be a little bit different based on if I've already done a class, and then I like how the office hours turned out, and I just want to copy that HTML. So different things here. But let's scroll back up to the top. I think this is important. I think the biggest thing I'm going to hamper on before I head out of here is, before you open up Blackboard and you start just edit, like changing your, it's you're about to start a new semester, a new school year, and you use Blackboard and you open it up and you start working. You take your old class, or you're in your developmental shell, and you're getting the class ready, and you're slowly changing dates and assignments and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I think if you start, hope you can see this, or some of this anyway. If you start with, a pencil and your legal pad and notes, if you start there first, just kind of get some thoughts flowing, and then get it going on digital notes. Or you could say, nah, no pencil and paper for me. I'll just type it. I just feel very more connected, and I remember things better when I go through the whole pencil paper process. And then when I digitize it, that's where, okay, I'm gonna tweak that a little bit, or I need this. So this whole course prep thing, it's really kind of all you have to take time to save time, but you can even tweak your notes from semester to semester, and edit the notes, of course, to help you once you get a course notes template, which I think would be super helpful for maybe some people to explore. But again, if you're changing audio lectures, video lectures, assignments, apps, technology, a lot of those things will probably have to happen before you get to this part. Because once you get to this part in the course prep, this is the course prep to actually change dates, do the syllabus, announcements. But this is not the course prep to, of course, change lectures. So if you're doing a lecture on, if I'm doing a new lecture on Elvis Presley, or if I'm doing a new lecture on Michael Jackson, I need to actually write the lecture notes and then record it and then have it, wherever I'm going to stream or post, or however, I put mine on YouTube, so I would upload it. And then when I get to this stage of the actual, course prep, that would be in here already. So any apps, technology, lectures, videos, assignments, you want to get all that done before you get to this stage. So that's, content prep, that's it can be parallel, side by side. Content prep can be before. You're probably going to have more success, more flexibility, more fun. It's going to be a lot easier if you do content prep, like your content prep, your technology stuff, and lead that into this. So I hope all this helps. I thought I've been asked questions in terms of how I do some of these things in terms of my course prep for getting my classes off the ground. And people ask me all the time, like, how do you make your courses look like that? Or what's your processes? What's your process? What's your flow? So I suppose I could show you in a later session of going from the course prep into Blackboard and into the syllabus. So I'll make sure to work on those as well. But hope this helps peer into the mind of Professor Ron and kind of how I look at course prep and organization and planning. So, hey, have a great session, great semester, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.